You'll always miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Some of y'all might have heard that quote from Wayne Gretzky, the leading point scorer in the National Hockey League in the US. Bottom line, if you're not taking action, you're not going to get results. You'll never close the sales calls you just don't make. And that's just sales reality. Whether you're a business owner or producer, if sales activity is not happening, sales aren't going to be made. I'm not talking about those sales that walk in the door. I'm talking about the sales you go out and get. The sales that make the difference between you having an okay month and having a phenomenal month. The difference between you having a decent income and having an amazing income. Let's look at what it's worth for you to have just one more sale. Let's say your average commission for one sale is $50. And let's say that on average, your client is going to stay with you for 5 years between their initial sale and their repeat sales. So you have a total lifetime income of $250 from one sale. Well, what if you could get 100 more? What if your team members were making 10 calls a day on 250 work days? That'd be 2,500 calls. If all they did was have a 4% closing ratio, that's 4 out of 100, they'd make 100 additional sales and generate $25,000 of extra income. That's just one team member. What about 250 more sales? That same team member making 10 sales calls per day, but with a 10% closing ratio, would end up netting 250 additional sales for $62,500 more income. The Sales Activity Boss is the tool to help you and your team members drive more calls, make more sales, and earn more money. So let's take a look at how the Sales Activity Boss works. If I go from the home page here, every day a producer would go into the goals section, and they've got the ability to set up their goals here. And all I ask them for at the beginning of the day is, what kind of activity are you going to do? In this case, we've got a few options here. I'm going to make a check-in call here, and I'm going to make 10 calls. I'm thinking that I'm going to have 5 messages left. Maybe 5 people will talk to me. Hopefully, I'll set 3 appointments. I'll set 2 autos and 1 fire, hopefully. And maybe this is the numbers I think they're going to come from it from a premium standpoint. I'm hoping I'm going to make $25 of income. It's going to take me 30 minutes to complete. So this is where I'd set my goals. And once I submit that goal, that's going to go into the daily goals log down here. Now I can edit these numbers or change these numbers later. I can set another goal for the same day if I wanted to. I don't have to. But if I wanted to make 10 sales calls and again have some other options here, I could do that as well. So every day the producers can enter their activity goals for that day. And as you might have heard, the concept of lead measures versus lag measures, a lot of people talk about that. I know Stephen Covey talks about it in the 4 disciplines of execution. We're here setting up not only the lead measures, the sales calls are going to be made. These are the activities we think are going to lead to results, but then also the anticipated results that we think are going to come as a result of that. So we have the team member thinking like a results-oriented salesperson, focusing on what activities, what lead measures are going to lead to what results, what lag measures. Once they've set the goals for the day, they go about their day. At the end of the day, they'd go into the results section, and then in a similar manner, they'd indicate what results came from their activities. So they'd say, I made my 10 calls, I left 4 messages, got 6 responses, maybe I got 3 auto sales, whatever it might be. And so from that perspective, it's going to let them show what they actually did, the results they got. And as before with the goals, they're going to be able to enter multiple entries for a day, have a history log if they'd like to, but more importantly, make sure that every day they're taking some sort of action. It's not quite so important that we get the exact activity right, but we need them taking some sort of action, otherwise we know the sales are not going to happen. Then the system generates reports on things like total sales made, sales income earned, hours worked, and sales income generated per hour, the percentage of the people they reached, appointment closing ratios, sales closing ratios, and income per action. Team members are not simply just being babysat to make sure they make their calls. Team members are being shown how they can make more money if they focus on top income earning activities. Producers can also see which activities are doing the best for them. So these client check-in calls have done pretty well, generating 1 sale, $25 of sales income, and have a 10% sales ratio or closing ratio. But their client review calls have led to 150 of sales income and a 60% sales closing ratio. If I'm the salesperson, I want to go with these client review calls and do them more often because they're getting me the higher closing ratio, allowing me to redirect my effort to those things that get me the best results and earn the most money. If you're the agency or business owner, you can also look at trends by team member. So here we've got Ann, Brian, and Claire, and we'll see Ann and Brian have made their 100 sales calls over a certain amount of time, whereas Claire has made 10. That right there gives me a sense of the level of activity. If I look further to the right, I'll see that Ann made 10 product sales and generated $100 of income, whereas Brian got 5 sales for $50 of income. So when I look over to the far right, Ann was able to close 10% of her calls, and Brian was able to close 5%. So again, it would give me a sense of who's doing what kind of activity, so I can see, are they even taking action, and who's getting the best results. Maybe we can learn from them. For business owners, agency owners, and producers, reports can be automatically sent to you, so you remember to look at the stats. Sometimes we get too busy selling. The sales activity boss makes sure you don't forget, so you don't end up wasting your time on activities that don't get results for you. Using the system is simple too. We have just a few videos to train team members and agency owners and business owners how to use the system. There's support by email and telephone, and you can always give us feedback and let us know how we can make the system better. So think about how many more sales could your team generate if they were making 10 or more calls per day? And what would those sales be worth to you? Could they generate 10 more sales and $2,500 more income by getting just 4 people out of every 1,000 to say yes to them? Could they generate 100 more sales and $25,000 more income by getting 4 out of every 100 people to say yes to them? Or could they generate 250 more sales and $62,000 of income by getting 1 out of every 10 people to say yes? Again, these are sample income numbers, and whether your income numbers are slightly higher or slightly lower, it's clear to see that there's a tremendous amount of money on the table and a huge cost to a lack of activity. The Sales Activity Boss will help you solve that by driving more calls so team members make more sales and you earn more money. So stop leaving thousands of dollars on the table. Take the 30-day risk-free trial now. The investment is $49 per month or $497 per year. If the numbers discussed in the video are even close to your numbers, 1 or 2 sales will easily pay for the system. There's also a 30-day guarantee, 100% money back for any reason at all, no questions asked, no hard feelings, just let us know. There's no contracts of any kind, you can cancel anytime. Producers will also get access to the 30-day Sales Driver Coaching Program and teleconference calls, and producers will get access to the online best practices sharing community. So go ahead and sign up now, whether it be monthly or annually. All there is to lose is the sales you could be making.